We live in a culture where yes is the default. Yes to the dinner that we secretly hope gets cancelled. Yes to the air fryer. Yes to the WhatsApp group chat that will probably mute in 3 seconds. We treat yes like it's a life strategy. Yes means we're in. Yes means we're successful. Yes means we are not missing out. But what if the cost of constantly saying yes and giving in to regret threats means that we are slowly saying no to the life that we actually want? I want to talk to you about JOMO, the joy of missing out, not as a trendy acronym, but as a radical rebel mindset that allows us to live with clarity, calm, and purpose. With JOMO comes the freedom of saying no. And saying no is not just a boundary, it's a bold declaration of who you are and what matters to you. Quick personal note. In my last talk, I spoke about the paradox of choice. Having more options can make us more anxious. This led me to the choices between yes and no. Since then, I've made a few bold, intentional yes and no choices of my own. I moved with my twin girls from Pretoria to Cape Town. I met the love of my life, swapped traffic apps for wind apps, and started breathing in fresh ocean air and a deep sigh of relief. Life became slower, more intentional, and I found myself wanting less, not more. At first, it scared me. Was I becoming less driven? Although my partner would strongly object, as apparently I still need to take it easier. But truthfully, I've never been more focused on my own goals, my own family, my own home. The outside noise just faded. Now, I'm not saying semigration is the answer to all of life's problems, but I am saying this. When your life aligns with your values, saying no to what drains you and yes to what feeds you gets easier. And sometimes that means changing your environment, not just your boundaries, because your willpower does run out, especially in places that's constantly nudging you to say yes. There is a constant trade happening between your yes and your no. For every yes you say, there's also a quiet no that you are saying, almost like Newton's law. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction, except in this case, it's not physics, it's your life. So saying yes to the meeting that could have been an email might mean that you are saying no to showing up to your kids' rugby or hockey match and being there for the triumph or the tears. Every yes you give away without thinking is a tiny vote for someone else's priorities. It's a yes to what's urgent instead of what's important. It's a yes to being busy instead of being well. We don't notice the cost at first because it doesn't show up on a receipt, but it shows up in burnout, in resentment, and in losing touch with your true values. But when you start seeing your yes as a currency, your time, your energy, your money, you stop handing it out like confetti. A well-considered yes is a commitment, not a reflex. And a strategic no, it's not rejection, it's redirection. So why do we say yes so much? What are we actually chasing? Why do we hustle harder, spend more, stretch thinner? We tell ourselves it's for success, for freedom, for options. But if we're really honest, a lot of it is for status. We already have homes, food, warmth. So why the upgrade? Why the smart fridge that tells you out of almond milk? Why the kitchen renovation when you order Uber Eats 4 times a week? Why finance the lifestyle when all we really want is the life? Because deep down, we're wired for admiration, to be seen, to prove we've made it. We're not chasing freedom, we're chasing applause. But here's the irony. The people we are so busy trying to impress are too busy trying to impress others to notice. And as Will Smith put it, too many people spend money they don't have to buy things they don't want to impress people they don't like. And that's not freedom, that's a trap. Be kind, just not always available. You can be kind, compassionate, and helpful, and yet not always available, like a Willie's rotisserie chicken at 6 p.m. People don't need 24/7 access to you to value you. If you're always available, always saying yes, always online, you dilute your value. You forget your own worth. People don't value unlimited, they value intentional. So JOMO isn't selfish, it's self-care. The joy of missing out can also be a money strategy. JOMO lets you align your money with your values instead of your insecurities. And once that happens, every financial decision becomes easier because it's based on purpose, not pressure. There is such a thing as a peak net worth. There's a point where more money does not mean more joy. A Princeton study found that happiness does rise with income, but only up to a certain point. In the US, that was around $75,000 a year. Obviously, it depends on where you live. But beyond that, people didn't get happier, just busier, more stressed, and more anxious about keeping it up. Emotional well being eventually levels off. So, yes, there is a peak, and it's probably lower than you think. Beyond that point, money stops being about freedom and it starts being about fear of losing it, of maintaining it, of keeping it up. True wealth is having enough and knowing it. And here's a thought: if more money wouldn't change the way that you spend your time, you're already rich. So, no, you're not missing out. You're opting in to clarity, to intention, to your own definition of a good life. It takes courage to live with intention in a world that profits off our distraction. But that's what makes it powerful. In a world shouting yes, the strongest thing you can say is a thoughtful, liberating, unapologetic no. Because when you do, when you filter out the noise, the nonsense, and the not for you, you give yourself the rarest gift, a life that is fully yours.